Mondays, 6 o'clock is where you'll find us here on YouTube. I actually don't know which microphone I'm using, but I'm assuming it's going to sound okay. So basically, I'm here with Rich and Ronnie, as per usual, just giving you A-level students a little bit of guiding help as to how we can help you with your A-level journey. Today's session is how to avoid stress during your exams. So that's mostly going to be during May that you've got your exams, and how can what we do now affect the stress that you're feeling in May? Well, there's quite a huge amount of difference that you can make on how you're going to feel in May by the work you can do now. So do you want to say hi, Rich and Ronnie?
I'll jump in. I'm excited because in an hour we're going to do the beginning of the AS revision with the total tutor second year. So I've spoken to a few second years over the weekend and last week, and we've decided that we're going to do an hour a week together live. I'm going to work as well, and I'm going to help you every week, give you a specific task to do, which is going to mean that we get all of the problems sorted with the AS and get the revision done in an effective way. So just 1 hour a week on the AS that you don't have to think about. And that is starting at 7 o'clock. So I'm really, really excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think what we need to do is, well, what we're doing here tonight is basically just giving some students some really important tips and tricks, really, as how to take the stress out of exam time. Okay, because that's ages away. It's probably not even on most people's radars, but it's the little things that you do now between now and your exams that are going to take the stress out of it. There's no way that you just and they'll get to April and think, oh, right now I'm going to start revising for my exams, and then find a way of that not being stressful. It just doesn't work like that. Okay, it's the foundations that you guys put in now, just little changes to the things that you do that can make a massive difference to you when you get to April, rather than feeling overwhelmed, thinking, oh my God, I've got so much to do. It's what you do in preparation for that between now and then that's going to take the stress out of it. Okay, which is why it's so important to just get involved and just, like I said, lay the foundations. Okay, it's the little things that you can do, the little changes to your habits right now, they're gonna make the big differences for you in April. Because you know what, there's no magic pill, there's no kind of website or book that that's got a magic wand that's going to make everything better when you get there. So it's about what you do now and how you start your year.
Definitely. I mean, so much of the exam, I'm the biology teacher here, so much of the A-level biology exam is application. So using your basic knowledge, your foundational knowledge, and then taking that and then seeing what happens if we change this down here, what impacts does that have over there in this other part of the course? And having the factual knowledge down, which is huge in biology. One of the biggest obstacles is the volume of content. But that is 1/3 of the exam, that building block of the volume of content, which is massive, which most students are still struggling to get their head around in May when your real exams are taking place. Of course, it's going to be stressful because you've got basically 3 blocks to build: AO1, AO2, AO3, the assessment objectives, and they kind of stack on top of each other. So if you're scrabbling to build the block 1, to build your tower nice and tall so you have a nice and good exam technique and all the rest of it, you're doing that in May. You're trying to do 100 things at once. You're doing this for 3 subjects or 4 subjects simultaneously. It's just overwhelmingly stressful. So what we're going to try and do with you throughout the year is constantly integrate little bits of year 12 content if you're a year 13 student. And that's what Ronnie's doing. So 7 o'clock today, doesn't matter what subject you're doing, you can join us in a Zoom room, and we're going to basically provide a space for you to give you effective year 12 recap study time. So just 1 hour a week is probably going to be all you need to do. Well, maybe not everything you need to do towards the exams. You might want to do a bit more than that. But from now, this time of the year, 1 hour a week, recapping your year 12 content in a deliberate manner, doing effective year 12 content. What we see with so many students is that they spend hours, they're putting the time in, the effort is there, but the things that they're doing during these study hours or revision sessions are just not effective. They're just basically a waste of time. So you're putting in 3 or 4 or 5 hours work. Really, you could achieve the same amount of learning and knowledge gain in 1 or 2 hours of effective study and revision. So that's what we're going to try and coach you through and hold your hand through, so you've got the support from us to use your time wisely. And so that when you get to, with our courses, we finish teaching the the content in our live class schedules is going to be done by March. That gives you April, May, and June. That gives you 3 months to tie it all together, to link those loose topics, to build on your exam technique, to look at the assessment objective 2 and assessment objective 3, so that when you get to May, you are in a position where you not only, that Michelle Thomas, who the person who taught me Spanish, a language teacher, he says, what you understand, you know, and what you know, you will not forget. So this is the point that we're trying to get to in April, or March, April, is whether you understand and you know all the basics, and then you can practice and work on eliminating those little mistakes and improving that little those extra marks, which will make the difference to get you the grade that you really want, rather than the grade that you're currently sitting on right now. So like those little diminishing returns, it's just like anything. It's easy to grab the first extra 5 marks, and then the next to get an extra 5 marks on top of that becomes even harder. The returns are increasingly difficult. So the more time you have to work on those little tiny little detail points, the better the grade you're going to get at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's not forget, and we say this all the time, it's like it is not you versus the exam when you get there. I mean, yes, it is. I mean, you got to sit there and you got to answer the questions, but it's those things that you do that give you the edge over other students. And that's what we try to do here at TT, is give people the edge over other students. You know, we've got thousands of students in the courses already that are on that track using our TT method of, you know, applying what you know as you go along. And that's what all our web classes are about. It's those other students in your cohort that you are up against, okay? Because that's how grade boundaries work. We've said this before. Those little things that you do, the little changes that you make in the way you study throughout the year, and of course, like Rich just mentioned, finishing in plenty of time so you get to practice your trade, okay? It's the last little, you don't want to get to April thinking, okay, this is when revision starts. You want to get to April thinking, right, I just need to dot those I's and cross those T's, practice my exam technique a little bit more, learn from my mistakes, and get those extra 5 marks. You know, like a 10-mark question, I don't know, most students will be able to get 5 out of 10 for that, and fewer students, very few students will get 10 out of 10. But those are the students who have done the wise thing and have actually finished the content early and practiced their exam technique later on in the year. And that's what we're all about here at TT. We're looking to get as many students as possible into that top echelon. Those are the ones that get the A stars. Those are the ones that get the A's and get into their first choice uni. As you know, Aisha just said on here, and thank you very much, Aisha. You know, they're in uni doing medicine now. They got A stars, and you know, we help to do that. Okay, so that's what we want to do for students, and you know, that's the TT method. You know what? It absolutely works. You know, don't take our word for it.
Like Rich was saying about you know, students who are putting that time in. So year 13 students, second year students who are now putting time into their AS stuff. And you're not stupid, you know, you've got to be examined on all of it at the end of the year. So are actually putting it in. But the trouble is that the same mistake is happening. So the problem is that you don't want to get to May and not have looked at it for ages, which is why we all know we need to do a little bit of AS. But what a lot of second years that I've been speaking to are doing is going through the AS in a sort of row from chapter 1 to chapter 10. Now that means that by the time we get around to May, it's going to be a year since you looked at chapter 1 and chapter 2. So that all that work, it's just putting information in, but it's going to fall out again. And we need to get it into your long-term memory. And we need to make sure that by the time you get to May, you don't feel like you've got to go over it again. And that's what we're going to be doing in the Monday sessions.
Yeah, and just going back, I was just going to invite Aisha, if she has any particular things that she thought that we helped with, maybe the help that she didn't get at school or at college or from a private tutor or however else you were using to revise at the point there. Like, was it the fact that we gave you motivation and support and we encouraged you? Was it because of the teaching? Was it the tutorials? Was it the live classes? Was it because you could get stuck on exam technique questions and then ask us and then we can reply to you individually? Like, I'd like to know if you've got any ideas, what specifically about TT, you said that you couldn't have done it without us. If you can point us in the right direction there, let us know what that might be, and we can pinpoint that and help share it with other students. Harris, the past paper library is inside every single course. So whichever course you're looking at, the content guide or the exam guide for biology, for chemistry, or for maths, there's a section that says the past paper library. You will find lots of things in there, mostly past papers, but there are some, depending on which exam board you do for which subject, there are question sets in there. We are actually looking at building out some extra question sets that are going to be coming your way at some point, but there's no immediate plan for that. Well, there's an immediate plan, but we don't have a release date for you just yet. So don't get too carried away. Yeah, they'll be there at some point, hopefully. Well, definitely before the exams this year, but I mean, hopefully by Christmas or so. Can
I just tell Maze off? Naughty, using dirty words in our chat there. Revision. Now, in the year, revision's not really a word you should be using, okay? What you should be doing is consolidating your knowledge and your content and practicing, those topics that you've just been doing in exam questions. You are not revising at this point of year. Revision is something you do once you've learned it once already, and you need to kind of start, applying it to exam questions and stuff like that. Whereas right now, you're just in the thick of it. You're learning new things. Every time you walk into that lab in chemistry and biology in the class for maths, then you're learning something new. So revision doesn't really come into it right now. Consolidating is what you should be doing. And tips for consolidating is just making sure that you understand it. As Rich said before, okay, knowing it is different to understanding it. Okay, if you understand something, if you can sit and explain it to somebody else who doesn't get it and make them get it, then you know it inside out. Okay, if you can explain it to somebody who doesn't understand it, then you can explain it in an exam paper. But then, of course, exam papers are a different kettle of fish, because they can ask you the same question in lots of different ways, and that really tests your understanding as opposed to your knowledge, doesn't it? Okay, like in mole calcs, mole calcs are dead straightforward. Every single question, even though they're presented to you in lots of different ways, essentially it boils down to 3 steps, and that's kind of my method in terms of teaching mole calcs. And if you can take a step back and look at it and think, okay, those are my 3 steps in this particular question, then you're laughing. So it's about consolidation at this point, okay? And what the course does, that's the big tip for consolidation right now. That our course, that's what we're doing, and as Ronnie's doing with the year 2s tonight with maths, is consolidating their AS content, okay, and just making sure that you blow the dust off it. Don't leave it until the end of the year to look at AS content again. And I can totally echo that for chemistry. And you know what, Ronnie, I'm proper jealous. I'm going to start doing a bit of that myself, mate.
Yeah.
There was a question there. Just how will I explain to help with application questions for biology? Well, this is one of the major skills of A-level biology, and you can't learn this overnight in May. So if you do all content until May, and then you think, oh, now I've got to do the exam in 2 weeks, maybe I should think about what kind of questions I'm going to get asked, and you've got to learn how to apply it to the exam. That's just too late. Well, it's not too late, but it's very difficult and it's stressful to deal with that. So what I'm doing in my live classes throughout the entire year, Thursdays, 6 o'clock for year 12 content or AS content, and 7 o'clock for year 13 or A-level content, I will basically be choosing a select set of questions on a given topic. I'm going to be giving them to students. They're going to be answering those questions, and we're going to look at the common mistakes. Oh, why do these 2 really similar answers? One of them gets 4 out of 4, one of them gets 2 out of 4. Why? They both sort of include all the details, but some of them will get the marks, some of them won't. So I'm going to share with you the examination process, the marking process, and how as a student you can read the question and then understand what the examiner is looking for and what marking points are going to be available for that style of question. So everyone learns topics. Everyone's like, can I have topic-based questions? Topic-based questions. Rich, how many times have you been asked for topic-based questions in your life as a teacher?
Oh, too many to count, mate. If I had £1 for every time somebody asked me, I wouldn't need to work.
How many times have you been asked for sets of questions for a particular style of question? It happens to me occasionally. For you, it might be calcs, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's asked me for any style of question. I think I think probably I force it on students as opposed to anything else, but they thank me for it, certainly at the end, that's for sure.
Yeah, so for me, I don't think I've ever had a student that said, can you give me a bank of, I find suggest questions really difficult. I get that all the time, but no one has ever asked me, can you give me a bank of suggest questions that I can do? So like practicing these things, it's all about understanding there's this topic of the question, and there's the style of the question, and then there's also to some extent the command word, and you can mix up the style and the command word. Sometimes they're very linear, and this type of command word is always that kind of question. Sometimes you get a variety of different command words. So like that's how I'm going to do that. And like the only way to do that is to practice that over time. ideally with someone who's an expert who can show you, because it's not always obvious. Joining those dots, I can show you this is this point and this is this point, and that's how they connect. Making that connection in your brain takes literally hundreds of past papers. So if you've got the time to do hundreds of past papers this year, you don't need my help. If you don't want to be doing literally hundreds of past papers, 300 papers plus, then come to my lessons and I'll coach you.
Yeah, I think just echoing what you say, Rich, I think I've had students when I was teaching in college, I had students come to me. It's like, well, okay, I'm looking at my paper that I've just done and I'm analyzing what topics that I was good at, what topics I wasn't so good at, but there isn't really any. But then when I looked at the paper, and it's literally all of the AO3 questions that they were struggling with, all the data analysis questions and things like that. Okay, so it's not a topic that you're struggling with, it's a style of question you're struggling with. So, you know, I'd look at it and think, okay, well, that one might be on equilibria, that one's on trends in period 3, and so on and so forth. It's not that you don't know that stuff in terms of your topic, it's just that you're not very good at those AO3 data analysis questions, which of course make up a decent percentage of the paper, you know. So it's just so important. It's a different way of thinking that, you know, the vast majority of students won't even think about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say those of you that are in year 13, especially if you're in year 12, what would our advice be? My advice would be to make sure that if you have a topic that you are not 100% crystal clear on the understanding of just the basic facts, then don't move on until you've got that understood. Because leaving, oh, I don't really get this bit, but don't worry, in class we've moved on from meiosis and now we're doing biodiversity and I understand this new bit, I don't understand the old bit. Like, that is a time bomb waiting to explode when you have an exam that covers, because things like meiosis are fundamental. A lot of the topics you'll be doing in AS or year 12 are the building blocks, and then next year comes and dumps a whole lot of extra detail on top. So if your foundational knowledge is weak, it's just going to crumble. And then you've got to go back to the beginning, learn it all from scratch, which is basically a whole bunch of wasted time. So again, if you can, make sure that if your only goal during year 12 is that you completely understand all those foundational blocks in the first half of the year, and then start using live classes to start linking some of those topics together, you're going to be in a very good position for the end of year 12 and obviously moving into year 13. Any other questions I missed there?
T-Boy, tips on how to start a personal statement. All our advice for that, T-Boy. We did a UCAS, kind of our advice for UCAS in another video. So go and check that out. We talked about personal statements quite a lot there. The ABC method, what to do, what not to do. It's a really difficult thing writing about yourself. Everyone finds it really, really hard. But I think, you know, I've spoken to loads of admissions tutors from loads of different unis over the years and seen thousands of personal statements. So go and check out that video. It's you know, it's on our channel, the UCAS one. So just do a Google search for it. I think it's still actually on the homepage of our channel. So go and check that out.
Yeah, you can always just search our entire YouTube history just from the Taylor Tutors channel page on YouTube. Okay, so just open question to the chat here. What are we doing at 7 o'clock today? What's Ronnie doing with you? Anyone? Because we've mentioned a few things. Maybe you could just make sure that you guys are nice and clear. Ronnie, do we have an application process that you said they have to register? What's the process?
Well, this is like literally just new idea that's come out of talking to second years over the last week or so about how they're feeling about the course and how it's going, and one of the big pressures being all of this AS and like, how do I revise it, when do I revise it? Teachers don't have time to use class time for AS revision, so we thought we would band together and just all do it at the same time. So I'm going to do it with you live at 7, and I'm going to explain to you exactly what you need to do, and I'm going to be there on the chat in the Zoom room in case anybody needs any extra guidance or anything. We're just going to set a timer, all going to have the same focus, and then we're going to head down for an action hour, which I will go through. So the link is in the Taylor Tutors course, but Rich, are we all right to share the link?
I think to start off, why don't we just invite everyone? And
okay. we can.
Anyone who wants to join us and get a bit of a flavor for what we do, you will need to download Zoom. We'll be hosting it in Zoom. So if you're not one of our, you don't come to our weekly live classes, which we use Zoom for, then make sure you've downloaded that and you're ready to go for 7 o'clock.
There we go. Oh, will it let me post a? Yeah, it did.
I think
there you go. Sometimes it's a bit funny about putting web addresses in there, but there we go. Laughing. Speaking of things they should be keeping an eye out for, that's next Monday as well. We're doing a couple of special YouTube lives next Monday, one for year 12 and one for year 13. So for year 12, I forget the title of it now. I was literally going to say it and it's gone out of my head.
Well, that's a great point. I've got
how to take control of your A-levels. Powerful title.
Yeah,
how to take control of your A-levels, because we've been speaking to some year 12s. They're in our courses. I've had a few chats with them, whether it's on the phone, via the chat on the website, through the comments, and the general feeling, and I'm sure year 13s will echo this, when you started in year 12, the general feeling is like, oh my God, it's like a whirlwind going on. Some of you might be doing 4 subjects even, but even with 3 subjects, it's like you're being bombarded with all this new information. It's a new style of learning. Teachers are expecting more of you. You're probably thinking, how do I organize my notes? You're probably not using nice, neat little exercise books anymore and stuff. So we're going to give some gold advice on what it is. Again, little things you can do to take control of your A-level. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're thinking, I don't know what's going on, I feel like I'm behind already, even though I've only been doing it a month, just come next week and we'll be giving out our kind of collective experience and advice to you guys and from other students as well, okay, who've been there and done it. It's not just our advice. We're not preaching to you, just, it's all things that have helped other people take control of their A-levels, and we're going to be passing that on to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So T-Boy was just asking for the link. You can just sign up with the link in the chat there, T-Boy. If you're watching the recording for this live session is happening at 7 o'clock, so almost instantly. So that link is not going to work after the event. But basically we do lots of stuff here on YouTube. So the best way is just to hit the bell notification so that when we go live, you get a little notification and you can then see what we're doing, so we can help you out as much as we can. In fact, Ronnie, that's a good question. Where is the link published inside the TT Academy?
It is on the live class registration page where you go to register for your 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock lessons on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, depending on whether you're doing maths or chemistry or biology. It's right at the top of that.
Okay, is that in all the courses already?
Yes.
Okay, so that's fab. So any of the courses, live class registration page, or the live class button from any of the lessons inside your course, and you'll see it from there. Yep. Hillary, the action hour is for basically year 13 students to give you a dedicated time and space to work on year 12 content. Recapping, spiraling year 12 content will give you some guided structure and support there. Everyone obviously can pick their own thing to work on. So that's what the whole session is about.
Ronnie's the font of all knowledge, apparently. If we'd have known this, Rich, we could have asked her some questions.
Yeah, no, today is, because this is the first one, today I don't need to pretend I've got any biology or chemistry knowledge, as I will explain when we start the session at 7 o'clock. So for today, I can handle it all by myself.
Yeah, so all subjects, 7 o'clock.
Yep.
If you are a year 12 student and you just want a time to just come and
you could do your homework.
You can do your own homework there if you find it useful. There's lots of study with me style videos. So effectively, it's going to be like a live study with me, and you're going to get some guidance on what will make that 45-minute action hour like effective and what won't be quite so effective. So you can use it for any subject, but obviously we cover biology, chemistry, maths, but you could be doing your history homework if you want to during that session as well. You can take the principles we give you and apply them to your other subjects to make your other subjects even more straightforward too. Okay, well, I think we're about done here. So 7 o'clock, hit the link that's in the chat there, and we'll set you up so you can join us at 7. You can also join us here next week, 6 o'clock for year 12s, how to take control of your A-levels, and at 7 o'clock for how to get into your first choice university for year 13. So we might cover some personal statement stuff in there, T-Boy, and UCAS forms, all the rest of that application process. Next Monday, that's what we're doing. And then Mondays beyond that, we're here with our student check-in. We'll just sort of pick a theme for each week as discussion points. If you've got any things that you'd like us to cover in these sessions, let us know, get in touch. I'm sure most of you are pretty familiar how to do that via the website on tailoredtutors.co.uk. I think that's about everything from me. I'll hand you over to Rich and Ronnie to say cheerio.
Well, hopefully not cheerio from me. Hopefully see you in half an hour. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, and all you need is the link and yourself and a calm space to work, and I'll take it from there. I'll tell you exactly what to do.
Yep, and I'll be on here with Rich and Ronnie next week, and I got my web class this week as well. So those of you that are subscribers, if you've used the TryTT free code, that's absolutely fine. Don't forget, share the love with that, folks. So if you're enjoying TT, if you're finding it really useful, then share it with your mates as well, because it's free for your first month. That coupon expires on the 13th of October, and that means you get all the web classes, all the live classes we're doing for the next month for free as well. And you can see in the course exactly what we're doing, and we'd have finished all the content by March, which is going to be so important for you guys and taking the stress away for your exams. So I'll see some of you on Wednesday. If not, then I'll see the rest of you on Monday with Rich and Ronnie for those 2 lives.
Well, what I thought I might do, that's a great idea, Rich, actually, just saying what are you covering topic wise in your live class this week. This week I have got, I'm just going to actually show students the page, and I can also show them the link where they can sign up to the session Ronnie's doing in half an hour as well. I just think that might be quite useful. I'm just going to load it up here so that okay, so if I can find Zoom to share my screen, here it is. Okay, so this is one of the biology courses. On the live class schedule and registration page, you can also click on the live class button anywhere on here. You've got the revision action hour live. You can register with this button here. So that's on all of the courses, all of the subjects. And obviously from this page, you can also see the sort of my roadmap for all the live classes that are being done. So next week is the 10th of October. We've got DNA and nucleic acids at 6 o'clock, and then respiration at 7 o'clock. So you can sort of see, you've got the PDF of all the questions that you can download here. This gives you all the videos that to watch in advance. So you can see these are the videos that cover the DNA and nucleic acids as a playlist. And then you've got all the questions that relate to it as well. So these are going to be covering the classic things that you definitely need to know in terms of the AO1 content. And a specific focus from my year 12 students from last week was that they want to be doing more of the application style questions, which I'm fine with, but it means that you guys are going to have to do the work in advance. You're going to have to get the content knowledge under your belt before we can do the application. As I said, they're building blocks. You can't do building block 2 without building block 1. So you're going to do building block 1 on your own, and I'm going to cover building blocks 2 and 3, the AO2, AO3 content knowledge with you during those live sessions, because that was a request from my students.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way it works, because I think, there's I don't know, other stuff you can watch on YouTube that kind of reteach you the content over and over again. But, that's not necessarily going to help you when it comes to applying it in an exam situation, is it? So that's what we're all about here at TT, is taking that, obviously giving you the knowledge in the content guide, and then using the exam guide and live classes to help you apply it. I've got 2 weeks. It's the first of 2 weeks, actually. I'm doing for mole calcs for year 1, year 2s. I recommend you come along as well. You will pick something up, because I've got some cheeky little tips and tricks to help you make mole calcs easier. So that's what I'm doing in year 1 this week. And then year 2 on Wednesday is entropy. So more calculations there as well. And that's a tricky concept to get your head around, entropy. So yes, we're going to spend a bit of time doing that on Wednesday for year 2. So you know what? I think I might do a couple of pop-up sessions next week in YouTube. Ronnie's inspired me just to help some people with mole calculations, because you know what? At this time of year, people are going crazy about them. So yeah, I'll pop in and do some stuff with that.
I'm going to be doing the most important things. Well, just huge. The way that I teach maths is all focused at exam success. So one of the things that's really, really important is that the topics that we start now are not chosen randomly. The topics that we start now are the ones that you need the longest to get your head around, the longest to practice, the longest to stop making mistakes with. So we started that last week. We were looking at reciprocal trig functions and the chain rule, and then we're going to apply the chain rule this week. So we only started really with that process last week, but this week we're going to do the thing. Speak to anybody who did maths the year above you, they will say the hardest thing is integration. So we are going to start integration in the second year. And the first years, we're going to continue working a little bit on force acceleration, Newton's laws, because that's one of the hardest things in the first year. And also just tie up some rules and facts and techniques and stuff to do with quadratics, because if you count the number of quadratics you actually end up with in your maths exam, even if it started off being trig or calculus or some sort of exponential thing or stats or mechanics, you end up at the end of the day on loads and loads and loads and loads of questions with a quadratic. So being super good and confident with quadratics is really important for first years and for second years. But that is tomorrow. Today is revision, AS revision for second years, any second years. And I don't mind, like, I've just looked, actually, it's quite exciting watching the registration numbers go up and up for 7 o'clock. So yeah, if you want to just text that Zoom link to friends, it doesn't matter if they're TT or not, let's just a really nice supportive community on a Monday evening that we all sit down at the same time with a cup of tea and work together and support each other to do that.
What more could you ask for? Right, on that note,
biscuits.
Yeah, biscuits. Okay, yeah, biscuits and tea. See you at 7 o'clock. See ya.